All right, Todd. Todd, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Philly, moved to the San Fernando Valley in 1979. I was 9 years old. Grew up in Van Nuys.
How'd you get into being a prison guard?
Prison guard, I got in at 35 years old, a little later. I was a mailman before that for about 15 years, delivering mail in the valley.
And the prison guard job was something that fit your personality?
Nah, I bumped into one of my buddies delivering mail, and he told me about it. He told me about how much money he makes. So I figured, delivering mail by myself, being kind of bored out there, I need some more excitement in my life and make more money.
I bet you being a prison guard provides a lot of excitement.
A lot of excitement, man. It was a circus.
How many years you do it?
I did it for 10 years.
10 years. Which prisons?
Worked up north in Soledad. It's called CTF. It's about the fifth oldest prison in California. And then transferred to Lancaster. Both level 4 maximum prisons.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of things do you see?
You name it. Seen everything from sex to drugs to everything.
In the prison, it's much more racial. Like the Hoods and Crips. I mean, the Bloods and Crips will
sell up together.
That exist in the hood. In jail, they're all the same.
Yeah, they unite because they need the numbers just in case something jumps off versus the other races.
So it's the African Americans against the Mexicans against the.
That's in Southern California. Up north, you got the Norteños. Those are Hispanics. And then they sell up with the blacks. And then the white the Hispanic Sureños, those are down south, but they're up north. And they sell up with the whites. So when something jumps off, you got a crazy riot up there. So you got the Norteño Mexicans going against the Sureño Mexicans. So it's not all Mexicans. They're separate up north.
And prison gets very violent.
Big time. Though you can have a riot over the dumbest shit ever. Somebody bumps into them without saying sorry, it'll jump off. All that respect, they respect each other and all that. They act like that in there, but once somebody crosses the line over the dumbest shit, it just jumps off.
What kind of things have you seen?
Oh, stabbings, guys overdosing off of crystal meth or heroin in a balloon. All kinds of shit, man. It's like, it's a circus, man.
They'll sneak drugs in.
Yeah, drugs. Guards can sneak them in. They have dentists in there. They have doctors in there. They have therapists. They have psychologists. They have teachers. So there's a lot of staff in there that can get caught up and get manipulated and get broken down and start bringing in stuff for these guys. From bringing in a soda to bringing in cell phones to bringing in heroin, and they're owned and they're done.
And with no women around. What?
No women around, and yeah, so if there's a teacher that on the street looks like a 2, she'll look like a 10 in prison. Because these dudes, they're animals, man. Caged up animals, man. So anything with a vagina, it's going to look great to them.
Is a vagina necessary?
No, they don't need a vagina.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they don't need a vagina. Yeah, if you got any kind of hole, that'll work too, man.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think.
But the vagina, man, yeah, that's gold to them. It could be a 100-year-old vagina, man, yeah.
Tell me about prison politics.
So prison politics goes as basically not like really hanging out with different races, man. It's sad and it's sickening, man, because it's just a different world in there, and it's not like that out here. And there's no way that things can get better in there because...
Do you think the prison system rehabilitates at all?
Fuck no. That thing's broken. It's going to always be broken.
It's just a punishment.
It's a money maker, man. If you really think about it and break it down. Older gentleman, when I first got hired, I asked him, like, hey, man, there's no way that we could stop the drugs coming in? We have the dogs to sniff cars, sniff visitors. We have female guards that can pat down visitors, and we don't do that. Because think about it. If you took away every possible angle from them not to get drugs in, it would be us versus them mentality, and it would be all bad. So if they can be deceptive and get into shit, that takes a lot of stress off of us, where they're not concentrating on us all the time.
Did you have famous prisoners at all? I think people.
I had a few people. I had El DeBarge, R&B singer.
Yeah.
He was up in Lancaster. And then I had a football player that was in my building for 4 years, Lawrence Phillips. He played for Nebraska. He was a running back. He was in my building 4 years. Good relationship with him. And he transferred to Wasco prison. And within a year, he choked out his cellmate. And then he actually hung himself. So never really caused problems with us, but he just wanted to be left alone and do his time, and he wasn't part of the politics. So eventually, something happened in his cell, and he had to choke out his cellmate.
But going to work every day, being surrounded by murderers and, all these different hustlers and all kinds of guys all day long, it's got to take a toll on your personal life. Right?
Oh, you definitely got to have a strong-minded, man. You got to be a strong-minded individual, because, yeah, man.
How did it affect you?
Really didn't affect me, man, because I grew up kind of rough, and I already knew the game. So when those guys were trying to hustle me, I was already 3 steps ahead of them. I already knew.
How did your childhood prepare you for this?
Drug infested. Mom did a lot of drugs. Didn't really have a lot of boundaries and structure as a kid. Ran around with my friends in the valley, every race, Samoans, Asians, Mexicans, blacks, and just ran amok. Never got into the gang shit. Have friends in the gang. Never got involved with selling dope. Always worked hard, but I wanted nice things in life. So cruising, clubbing, chasing females. So it's basically the same thing. But the gang shit, yeah, to me, that's just the stupidest thing ever, man. Over neighborhoods and colors and killing each other. No, man.
Yeah, it's crazy how you're born on the wrong street and your enemy is.
We had a little clique going on where I lived at, and we played against different neighborhoods and tackle football and all that. But as like killing each other, nah, man. Color-wise, nah, not into that.
And these guys are creating weapons in there as well?
They create weapons in there. Any little thing that they can find their hands on, they'll definitely sharpen it up. And from a toothbrush to getting a little razor blade on a toothbrush to, oh yeah, man, they got nothing but time, man. So their mind is like thinking of the worst shit to do.
And you've seen guys who they've already got a life sentence, so they have nothing to lose.
They say they got nothing to lose. They always come at me like that, whenever I have a problem, like, you can't do shit to me. And we can do shit to them, like certain things that we can do to make their life a little miserable in there. Take their TVs from them if their TVs don't belong to them and so forth. That'll hurt them, even though they're never getting out. But watching TV to them, that's a big deal. That's their everyday routine. So if you fuck up their routine, it pisses them off and it gets them mad. So they play that game.
It's got to be tough on guys who are in there for things that are not from the streets, not from the rough lifestyle of.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, if you grew up with a mom and dad and you got caught up doing something kind of weird on the streets and you got to do hardcore time, these dudes will eat you up in there, man. They've been going in the prison system ever since juveniles, and they know the whole game, man. And just listen to them talk. Yeah, you can, like, the outside world doesn't know why these guys keep on going in there, and they don't understand. But when you're in there and you watch and you're like, no wonder these guys keep on going back in there. They got their 3 meals, they get their drugs, they got their medication, they got all their boys from the neighborhood. It's like a little camp. Just imagine a camp as you went to camp when you were in 8 years old, all the way up until you're 50. You're still bumping into people from the camp. And that's how it is, man. You listen to them and you're like, this shit is wild. Like, hey, you know so-and-so from this neighborhood? Oh, that's my cousin's husband. You know that? And they all got nicknames. They all got AKAs in there. And you're just listening. You're like, what the fuck? This is crazy. Like, no wonder these dudes are all like this, man.
Being out in the free world is probably...
Forget it.
Scares the hell out of them.
They can't survive it, man. Fuck no. Within a week, they're done. They're taking a bad piss test, getting violated. They're committing crimes because they don't have money for food. They can't get a job out here, man. No.
I've heard a lot of stories of guys who just get turned into sexual objects just because they're there.
Oh, you're talking about in prison?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's consensual to me, man. Really? Not so much raping and all that. It's consensual, man. Especially in California. Like, we kind of like, when a new guy comes in the prison and he has to cell up with somebody, we kind of accommodate them where they're going to get along. We usually don't sell up a blood in a crip. If we have to, we will. But we'll sell up somebody that's same age almost. If you got a guy doing 90 years and you got a young kid that's doing 2 years, we're not going to sell up a 20-year-old kid with a 55-year-old guy that's hardcore gang member doing life. Yeah, that dude's going to manipulate this young kid and make him his bitch in there.
What was the most horrifying thing you've seen?
I was working on a building where they're kind of cuckoo and they're on meds all day. And this guy was on the second tier and there was blood coming from the second tier dripping all the way down. So me and my partner went up there, walked, and the dude's sitting on his bunk. He's just staring at us. And there's blood coming from the bottom bunk where he was at. And he was hearing voices. So these guys, when they have a lot of money on their books, or they could buy like soda, they could buy all kinds of Doritos, they could buy all kinds of things. So he sold half of the Coke can, and he grabbed his ball sack, and he actually used half of the Coke can to saw his scrotum, and he grabbed one of his nuts and he flushed it down the toilet because he said he heard voices, and God told him to do that. And he was just sitting there staring at us. Meanwhile, he was bleeding, and he lived. Yeah, but of course, I don't know what happened to that situation, but his nut went down the toilet, and I don't know where it's at now.
Do you think there's hope? I mean, is there anything that the prison system can do to help these guys once they're done?
Oh, it's hard, man, because think about it. Once you have a record, how do you come back on the street and you fill out application and you got to hit that checkbox felon? If you don't hit that checkbox felon and do a background, they're going to find it anyway. So I think the only way they can really survive is probably know somebody that maybe owns a business that gives them a chance. A lot of them want to do right, but they parole and they go right back to their neighborhoods and they hang around their boys. And what do? They go down, man. Start smoking weed, and they don't have the tools, man. It's sad because the way they grew up, they don't have a dad. They don't have a father figure, man. Dad was in a gang. Dad was locked up.
Yeah, just like my interviews, it's like a very, very small percentage of them had fathers.
Exactly. So I had a good relationship, man, and the job was easy for me because it's all about communicating and talking to them. And these dudes would look at me like, man, I wish I had somebody like you in the neighborhood when I was younger. And they all tripped out on me because I'm white. And they're like, how the fuck do you know about this lifestyle? You being white, this and that. Because I can relate to all that. Because I didn't grow up great. But I chose not to go down that path, man.
Yeah, so much of it is not having role models to look up to.
Yeah, you gotta have role models, man. But at the end of the day, you also gotta have the will to cut yourself off from all the bad friends that you got, man, and the peer pressure. I was that dude in the car where everybody's smoking weed, give Todd a hit. And I'm like, no, man, I'm good. I don't want to hit. Come on, man. Stop acting like a bitch or a pussy. Pull over. I'm going to fuck you up right now. Like I was that. I'm an alpha male, man. You're not going to convince me to do anything that I don't want to do. I've done a lot of dumb shit as a kid that I wanted to do. But nobody's going to convince me to do something. Nah. Won't never happen. I had friends in there that I bumped into from junior high, from high school, that I bumped into at Lancaster. It's a small world, man. San Fernando Valley is gigantic. So these guys, go to different prisons. So I saw dudes from Lancaster that I used to be tight with in junior high. And then we saw each other and they're trying to dab me up, but I can't dab you up, bro. Like, we're on different sides now, man. We used to be cool. We used to be boys, but that was 35 years ago. Your life took a turn, man. Mine didn't.
What kind of things go on in prison that the general public doesn't have any idea about?
A lot of sex in there, man. Like coming out of the academy, I would work graveyard and I would have my keys in my pocket and I would have to do counts. And, I got my flashlight. Yeah, they're going to town, man. So once I saw enough of that, I said, you know what? Let me leave my keys out so that shit can jingle because I don't want to see that no more. If I was at a female prison, yeah, that's cool. But male prison? Nah, man, I'm good with that. I don't want to see that shit. So the craziest story was I was up north and they're on lockdown. And when they're on lockdown, we self-feed. So they have food ports. So I'm serving. And I'm new. I'm right out of the academy. And they knew I was new. Jumpsuits all creased up. Boots are all nice and shiny. After a few years, you don't even care what you look like in there anyway. So these dudes are like, we're serving them bacon, French toast, butter. They have butter on the plates. And this butter's real whipped. So I'm passing around the food trays. And these dudes are like, hey, CO, can I get some butter? I'm like, bro, you got butter already. No, man, you give me some more butter. And once I gave extra butter to one of the inmates, all of them saw that shit. And they all started, ACO, can you give me some? ACO, can you give me some? Went back to one of my boys that's been doing it for a while. I said, what's up with this butter, bro? Is this shit magical? And he looked at me, he goes, come on, man, you don't know? And I went, don't tell me it's fucking lube. And he's like, yep. I'm like, fuck, maybe I should go back to the post office, man. This job ain't for me. Yeah, that was like, oh shit, that was wild, man. So now, you know, I'm married, so sometimes when I run out of Vaseline, maybe I'll buy some margarine at the store for me and my wife.
What was the after having this career for a while? What have you learned about society?
Shit, we already knew it was shit. Now it's even more shit. Just the tools, man, in these hoods, in these neighborhoods, man. America don't care about these neighborhoods, man. It's sad.
Yeah, it's a lack of education, lack of opportunity.
Yeah, definitely, man. These kids that survive, these kids that grow up in those neighborhoods, man, they don't know nothing about going to college and a 401k. They're trying to put food on the table, man. Mom strung out on dope. Maybe grandparents.
No dad.
No dad, of course. Maybe grandparents are raising them. Grandparents are 80 years old. These kids are running circles and manipulating their grandparents and running around. Or they see their uncles with all the bling bling, driving nice cars, all the females. I want that life, man. I don't want to be going to college, wasting 10 years of my life. Maybe I won't get that. I want that shit right now. Instant gratification, man. And that's the way the youngins, all the youngsters want. They want this shit now, man. They don't want to put the work in.
Yeah, they see the fast money.
Yeah, man. I got kids and shit. God forbid, if my kid has to work 8 hours, the world's going to end.
Yeah, it seems like the whole society is, the younger crowd is about immediate gratification now.
Definitely. They don't want to put the time in, man. They want to go to the gym. They want to hang out. They want to do other things, man. When, you know, I didn't go to work 8 hours. I needed 16 hours. I wanted overtime. I was an overtime whore, man. I needed money. So, yeah, the only way I'm going to get money is more hours. I'm Jewish, man. I didn't get bar mitzvah. I didn't go to Hebrew school. I wasn't going to be a doctor. I wasn't going to be a lawyer. So my mentality was I'm going to outwork everybody and hustle. So that's what I did. 6-7 days a week, man. Worked overtime. And I got where I'm at right now by hard work. Nobody give me nothing.
Why did you quit that life, the job?
Corrections?
Yeah.
2 knee surgeries. They pensioned me out. So I was a liability.
Do you miss it at all?
I miss it. I miss the friendship with my buddies. But other than that, it wears on you. 10 years was cool. I got in at 35, so I was the oldest guy like in my class in the academy. Everybody else is like 21, 22. But also it's a bad thing when you're 21, 22, and all of a sudden you go into the academy, you got a badge, and now all of a sudden you're Rambo, you think you're the shit. Can't act like that in there. These dudes will get you all day, all night. They'll get you. These dudes are 6'7", 300 pounds, full of muscle. So yeah, you can't be trying to act like you're hard. Try to punk these inmates. You gotta know how to talk. And that was the easy job for me. I used to have the shot callers coming up to me, talking, let me know, you know, if I can do this for you, do that. So it was all about that. Of course, I'm not gonna give them the keys to my job. I'm gonna talk to you and we're gonna work things out. But I want certain things from you and you want certain things from me. So we're gonna meet in the middle. And that's how it worked, man. Just like the inmates. Certain inmates I had in my back pocket because I want to know where the phones were. Where's the heroin at? So I'll hook you up. I'll give you certain things. Not from me, from the state. I'll give you an extra lunch. So that's what it's all about, man. Got to be a salesman in there. And I'm pretty good. One thing I do got, man, gift of gab right there.
Are there lessons in life and regular society that you learned in there?
Nah. Stuff I learned on the streets, I brought in with me. Mm-hmm. Maybe it helped me perfect it, working in there every day, sharpen my craft, but I already had it. I was already a smooth operator out on the streets, you know, being a mailman, you got to talk to people, customers, and interact with people. I'm not an introvert, man. I'm the life of the party without doing drugs. You put me with a room with 20 people I don't know, by the time 3 hours later, everybody's going to feel like they know me for a long time.
What percentage of these, the convicts are using drugs in the prison?
Maybe 60 to 70.
Really?
60 to 70%.
Oh.
It helps time go by quick for them.
Sure.
They make homemade alcohol in there too. It's called Pruno. I don't know if you heard of it.
No.
bread, apples. Yeah, strong shit, man. So we don't like that when they're on that because they become violent.
Right.
So we usually, you know,
You've seen riots?
seen riots up north. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
What's a prison riot like?
It's wild, man. You just can't run in there with your head cut off. You got to kind of like assess the situation with your buddies, and don't run in there 100 miles an hour because you're gonna be gassed. Let them get gassed, let them be tired, and then you can do what you need to do with them. You gotta let it play out, man. You're outnumbered. Even in working in the building, man, I would be on the floor with one other partner. My other partner would be up top. 200 inmates in a building. So we're outnumbered 200, technically, to 2 on the floor, 1 up top. So at any time, anything can happen. But you don't think about it, man. Just like if you hop in a car. You can't think about getting in a car accident. It can happen. You live life, man. Whatever happens, happens. It's meant to be.
All right. Todd, thank you so much for sharing your story.
You got it, Mark.
Very interesting.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.